has to say, but we're going to go ahead and jump in. Okay, so we're going to start by talking about momentum because that's what we see happening right now, right? We got this GLP-1 combo. Everybody and their mama wants it. We can barely even keep it on the shelves. A lot going on. And so we want to talk about momentum. So first of all, Diamonds, would love to hear from you. What actually is momentum? Like, how would you even define what momentum is? How do you know if you're in it? Why should we even care about momentum? What is momentum? Yes.
Momentum for me is energy. I think momentum, it's created from an energy, which is created from a belief. Momentum is kind of when hard work catches up with opportunity, which catches up with timing, which catches up with system. Like it's kind of like which just the perfect little situation. But I think it always starts with energy. And I think momentum can be created. You can have personal energy, you can have team energy, you can have company energy. But I have never ever believed that it was the team's responsibility or the company's responsibility to create an environment where momentum could be possible. Momentum starts within in here. And the same is true if you want to create momentum in your fitness or in a relationship or in your finances or whatever. Momentum is an energy. It's a decision that comes from energy.
Totally agree. Love it. Who else has something to add to that?
I'll add just a little bit, but her answer was so good. I don't want to like I don't want to muck anything up. I think also with energy is it's a transference of confidence that creates quick decisions. That people don't have to overthink anything because they're so steady in your confidence that they can make a decision quickly and they don't have to doubt themselves. So I mean maybe that goes along with belief, but I do think confidence transfers as well.
Yeah, that reminds me of what Brienne said a few weeks ago about when your belief is so high, you just get less frequent objections because of what you just said. It's a transfer of confidence. I love that. Anybody else? What is momentum? Why should we care?
I was just gonna say for anyone who likes control or organization or relies heavily on systems, they're not gonna feel very in control during momentum because it is it's kind of crazy and
Yep.
exciting and fun and people go places and do things things you didn't tell them to do. Like, and so they do it differently than you and they don't follow the system, but the energy takes care of all that because of the high belief, the high confidence transfer that Wendy mentioned. Like, so you might, if you're in one of those categories of that type of person, you might feel a little uncomfortable. But it's just go with it. Just go with it and like go with the people with the high energy and fun, like ride the wave.
Yep, I agree. It definitely feels out of control. I think momentum is when there's so much happening that you cannot keep up with it. You literally cannot keep up. So that's why you don't have control. Anybody else before I move on? Lori, Amber, Alita, Brienne?
I was just going to say, like, to echo what Christina said, you're not waiting for somebody else to indicate your momentum. Like, you know that you are in that momentum. And also, like what you said, Brittany, you don't have time, or I don't remember who said that. You don't have time to wait. Like, it's so clear that the path is going forward, and people either need to catch on and jump on and go forward with you. Um, it's very clear and evident.
Yep. You know when you're in momentum. Nobody has to tell you. You also know when you're not. Nobody has to tell you that either, okay?
Can I
All
say
right.
something? Hang on, wait.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
also think that momentum never happens for the person who wasn't preparing for it. So, for instance, when momentum shows up company wide or team wide or whatever, and somebody misses the wave, it's because the behavior wasn't in alignment to have even really deserved the momentum when it showed up on the scene. So, I can remember Robin Sullivan and I talked about this a million times, but when we went diamond back in the day, it was kind of like people were like, oh my gosh, y'all did that so fast. And it was like, no, we didn't. We have been here for years doing the things that all of the experts said would work with no evidence that it would, like no personal evidence that, oh, momentum's around the corner. Now, it obviously came, but there was no evidence. We showed up and like grinded it out every single day, doing the things that the successful people said they had done to create the momentum. And so when it did show up, it did look like overnight success. But it wasn't overnight success because there were people who didn't find themselves in momentum at the same time we did find ourselves in momentum. And the only thing different was what we had been doing in the weeks, months, years leading up to that. So people always want the big wave of momentum, but you got to go through the childbirth of birthing the momentum because it's not just the baby that shows up, right? So I think that become somebody who would it would be reasonable that momentum would show up at your doorstep. Become like to take the actions often, daily, consistently, that it would seem reasonable that this would happen. It's like, oh yeah, of course that happened. It's kind of like, oh yeah, of course she had the bikini body because look at the work she had put in for the years before that competition. She didn't just wake up one day a competitor. So
yeah, that's a perfect segue into, oh, you got something, Brienne?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that speaking to anybody right now that maybe doesn't feel like you're in momentum, don't stop. So if you're listening to these conversations and you're like, ooh, but my phone isn't blowing up and I don't know if I'm in momentum, you might not have prepped yourself for this wave, but if you give up, you're not going to be able to sustain the wave that we're seeing right now and that we know is going to stay here, right? And I think that that's why so many people see all these ebbs and flows in our businesses because we want to jump in when momentum is high and when energy is high. But if we're not feeling all the things, we're like, oh, but maybe I'm not cut out for this. And it's not that you're not cut out for it. It's just you've got to do exactly what Christina said, right? You've got to be pregnant for 9 months to have the baby. You've got to do all of the work and plug into your IPAs and be attracted to that momentum and be the person that people want to be in momentum with is such a huge thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So perfect segue into my next question. This has partially already been answered, but would love to hear if anybody has additional thoughts about it. Where does momentum come from? Is it something that happens to you? Do you go and create it? And if you do create it, how do you create momentum?
I think everything starts with belief and energy, and action usually follows belief and energy. And you do have to be in a lot of action for a consistent amount of time. Correct action, coachable action, trackable action, and then momentum comes from that.
I think to add to that, anytime we've been in momentum, we have a group of people, whatever size that is. Because if you're a brand new team, it might be 2 people, it might be you and somebody else, it might be 3 people, whatever it is, that are all inspired to reach their goals and working towards reaching their goals. So whether it's you have 3 people that are all excited to hit silver and you're brand new, and that's momentum, right? So your momentum, it's having a group of people inspired to hit their goals that are all actively working towards it with you. So that might be having 2 new golds on your team that are super excited and hitting gold this month, or 2 new senior silvers, or maybe you're having 2 new emeralds about to hit, or hitting diamond yourself. Like that's what it tangibly looks like in the team, and it can be in different sizes.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else?
I think momentum too is vision casting, right? Like we've got to tell people where we're going, or you're not going to go on the journey with people. And so if we want to be in momentum with people, it's going to start just like they said with the messages, but people need to know why you're sending the messages. And I think that that's so much of where we're going with a lot of what we've been talking about is it can't just be a scripted message. It can't just be the system. It can't just be, everybody's posting about the pink drink and I want to get into momentum, so I'm going to throw up a graphic. It's got to be where your heart is and where your vision is and where you want to go and why you want to bring people with you that's going to get you into momentum.
I agree with
Yeah.
that. I think that momentum doesn't happen to you. It happens as a result of what you've done. And the fastest way to create momentum is to find people who want something different than they currently have and then help them get what they want. Fastest way to get what you want. Help a lot of people get what they want. And exactly like Amber said, that might be find one person who wants something different than what she currently has and then lock arms with her and help her create that and then repeat that process. I remember one time when we kind of created momentum when I was going Emerald, it was Brittany's like, you've got to create some business builders. And so it became focus on creating a silver. What do I have to do? She's asked me this question a million times over the years, but like, if you were going to get $1 million, if you figured out how to create a silver, what would you try? And so I just tried and tried. We tried and tried and tried. So anyways, got a silver. The next month, got another silver. I think she said the third month I had 2 or 3 silvers. The next month there were five. I had 5 level 1 silvers. So it was just a matter of find somebody who wants what they don't have yet, pour belief into them that they can have it, and then lock arms with them to help them get it, and then repeat the process. And what will happen is that will compound.
Yeah, I definitely agree that momentum is an energy and it starts within one person way before you see outward results of momentum. And like Amber said, like it's when you have a lot of people who are inspired to go and reach their goals. Well, you cannot inspire somebody if you are not inspired. And so, if you want momentum, are you inspired? And are you taking ownership of your own inspiration? Or are you waiting for some inspiration to come along? Because high performers take ownership of their own inspiration. They go out and they find the inspiration, right? Like we don't always feel inspired when we wake up every day. Sometimes we have to actually take some action that's going to cause us to feel inspired, right? And if you are inspired, then you will be inspiring to others. If you believe that your goals are possible and you are going after your own goals, you become contagious to other people. And it all starts with what you are thinking and believing. That's what's going to impact your energy and how inspiring you are and how contagious you are to other people. All right, let's go on to the next question. So, one of the things that Bree said earlier was this momentum is here. We know it's not going anywhere. So I feel like that is a good segue into this question, which is how do you build an income with Plexus that is consistent and reliable? This is a question that a lot of leaders would like to know. Consistent and reliable income. Is it possible? And how do you do it here?
I mean, I love this question because network marketing isn't different in the sense of a 9 to 5 job that you're your own boss, right? Everybody, we know this. And so the difference with network marketing compared to a 9 to 5 is that it's really easy to put it off. It's really easy to say, like, tomorrow I'm going to go do this. The quickest way to tell if you should be paid in network marketing is to ask yourself, if you were your boss, would you fire you? And 99% of the time, you would not get paid from Plexus, but we expect to get paid because we're on our phone. And so asking ourselves if we're really treating this like a job or are we treating it like a hobby? And so I've had ebbs and flows in 10 years. I think everybody on here can agree that we've had ebbs and flows in this, but this has always been my job and there is no back door for me. And so I'm going to get paid consistently because I show up consistently. And I think that when people, again, think that this is just something that you can like kind of tap into once in a while, if that's what you want, that's great. But that's hobby income. That's not consistent, reliable income. And so there's a very big difference. And just asking yourself, are you doing the things to get paid in this is always, you're always going to be able to determine that.
I agree.
Go ahead, Christina.
I was just gonna say, I think people when I get this question, here's my answer. You're always going to be paid in direct proportion to the value that you bring the company. Period. Never more, never less. The value that you bring the company, that's what you're going to be paid on. So same as my previous answer. If you want to be paid consistently, and I think you said reliably, which for me, this was what I had to build my belief in, y'all, when I started. I was a school teacher, and as much as I valued the idea of freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, I valued that. I also have 4 kids, and I just as much value security. So the idea of come make a bunch of money one time never interested me. That was not what I was after. If I was going to build something different, I needed it to be as secure as my teaching profession, right? If I was going to leave the classroom to be with my kids, I couldn't wonder if the income was just going to go away one day. So it came down to finding people who wanted something different than what they currently had, and then locking arms with them and helping them build it. So the way that you stabilize your income is help other people create a stable income. Find people who want this to be their thing also. And then again, realizing as you have the ability to grow your income here. Unlike when I was a school teacher, there was no way for me to go teach harder and make more money. But if I want to grow my income here, I just increase the amount of value I bring to the company, meaning I go add a new leader leg. That's obviously going to add value to the company. Now I'm going to make more money. So I think we have to just demystify the idea that, how do I keep earning money? Well, keep adding value. Keep adding value. If you go and find a customer, help them fall in love with their products, they order from now until the day that they die, you have created residual income with that customer. So it's reasonable that corporate would pay you for that value that you bring to the company. But somebody that's going to come in, going to kind of throw spaghetti at the wall, you have to learn the skills, you have to put in the time, and then again, you have to shore up your business by helping other people build stable businesses.
I'm going to add another, this is the way I say it. I love hearing the way different people say it, but what I love about network marketing and I love about our business model is you get paid in direct proportion to the layers of impact that you make. So you having just your one layer, like your customers, that's one layer of impact, right? But you helping them help their customers and people that you wouldn't have even known, and that ripple effect. So like so many people here on this team, they're in a impact layer of mom's organization, and so she gets paid in direct proportion to the impact that she has in the amount of people's lives. So I love that about our model. I was talking to someone today and they're like, I just don't want to be like selling something because I'm trying to make money. And I said, you only make money if people are getting the results they want. And the more people that get the results, the more money you make. And so I love that our job is and over again. When Justin used to pour concrete for a living, he would do one job, get paid for it, and it'd be over and done. And that's it. And I love that this is residual. Every single month someone's positively impacted, you're paid again. Like, it just cannot get better than that. So I think I'm deepen your layer of impact and look to spread that as far as possible. How wide can that ripple effect get? Right? So 2 different ways to say it, but same thing.
I love that, Amber. I also think like when somebody is thinking or asking like, is it possible to make a lot of money here? It absolutely is possible. And I feel like it's kind of the same as if someone were to say, is it possible for me to lose 50 pounds in a year? And the answer would be yes, it's absolutely possible for you to lose 50 pounds in a year, right? Like, what's it going to take? A lot of the same things. So much of building a business, the principles are right in alignment with fitness. And so I love fitness and exercise examples because the principles of success are the same. It takes hard work, it takes discipline, it takes consistency, it takes a lot of saying no to yourself, doing things you don't want to do, or making yourself do things that you don't want to do, or not doing the things that you do want to do, right? All that requires discipline. So yes, it's possible to lose 50 pounds. Yes, it's possible to make a lot of money here. But how, like asking how is the income sustainable and consistent? Well, that would be like saying, is keeping the weight off sustainable? Like, can I lose 50 pounds is very different than can I keep it off, right? Can I make a lot of money is very different than can I keep making the money? And the answer to both is yes, and yes, and yes, you can. And the way you keep the weight off is by doing the things that got you there. Like maybe not to the same degree, maybe not to the same intensity, but definitely with the same consistency, right? And so keeping your business, keeping your income sustainable, it's very much the same. Yes, you can make a lot of money quickly here, but to keep the income coming in, you have to do what got you there, right? It's hard work. So just like Brian said, it's not just like get to the top and then kick your feet up, okay? This is a career option. It's a really good career option, but it's a career option, and you do have to treat it as such, not as like I'm just going to hit the lottery and then check out, because that when you do that, then you should expect your income to decline. Okay. Any other thoughts on that before I move on? Okay. So last week we talked a lot about creating business builders, what that looks like how our sponsors recruited us, kind of shared our stories. And now we're talking about momentum. We're talking about consistent income, what that's going to take. And lots of people have questions about the process of creating business builders. So I would love for everybody to hear from each of you, what does your process of creating a business builder look like? If you just decided tomorrow morning, today, I am going to engage in a process that will result in me creating a business builder, what would you do? What would you expect to happen with your process? What's your process?
I'll go first. If that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
thank you, Wendy.
Everything, I know I think a little bit differently than a lot of the diamonds on here, and I'm very strategic in how I like to do things. I look at everything in a strategy. And so, like everything it comes down to conversations. Like you cannot ever avoid or discount somebody from just asking them, would you be willing to ... Would you be willing to put up a post? How would you feel about making ... Like everything has to be conversation and questions. And so this month I made it a super intentionality to create as many silvers and senior silvers as possible. And it all came down to questions, and they're brand new people.
Love it. I especially love the question that you just said. How would you feel about ... Like you're not telling them what to do. Like you're literally asking them, how would you feel about taking this action? I think that's brilliant, because what's going to happen right there is that, let me mute somebody. What's going to happen is you're going to uncover their objection, and that's going to keep the conversation going. Now, a lot of times people will just say, okay, let's get this post up, and then they just get ghosted. They'll tell people what action to take. The person's not inspired enough to take the action yet. That's out of their comfort zone. But and so they're just gonna not respond at all. But if you were to ask, how would you feel about this, you would probably uncover their objection, which would at a minimum keep the conversation going, and then it gives you an opportunity to dive deeper into what could possibly be holding them back from going all in. So I love that, Wendy. Anybody else? Don't everybody speak at once.
Okay, well, I love this. I'm going to go off of Wendy's because I was like, literally, like, I'm all ears when Wendy talks. Like, and, well, any of you guys on here are so good. But one thing that I heard Wendy say when I first joined, and then she said it again when we were at Jewel training, and she said, I'm digging for talent. I'm looking for talent. And I love that sentence because I don't like to think, I think sometimes it's even the wording we tell ourselves, like I'm trying to make a business builder feels very like I'm going to come in here and force. And I'm more of a bulldog personality, probably more like Christina vibe, right? Where I'm like, come on, like you want to do this, you don't want to do it, like get going, like I'm ready to go, I want to do this. And when I came in to create a sustainable income that would be reliable for me, I just intuitively knew somehow I gotta have builders underneath me. Like I cannot get here by myself. I am not gonna know how to do that. And so now my process is like, to put it more professionally. Before, I would say I was having a lot of freaking conversations. I was calling people, I was talking to people, I was messaging them, I was asking them, what would it look like for you to go to the top of this company with me? Like, let's go on trips. Like, I would speak, this is an Eva line, but I would speak their language. Like, I just knew, I'm like, okay, this girl loves to travel, this gal would love the income, extra income to help cover her mortgage, and I'm going to talk to them about what was possible for them. But I was a silver ambassador. I was brand new, and I started doing that process naturally because I knew I wanted to, I'm a natural community builder type person. I don't ever want to do it alone. I like to have people always around and doing the hard, like doing the things with me. Like, let's get out of our comfort zone. And I think that when it comes down to it, in developing business builders or creating a sustainable income in Plexus, is that you have to understand that it is a tolerance of repetition. It is the tolerance of repetition. It is the tolerance of repetition. It's a tolerance of hearing repetition. I don't know if you've noticed, but everyone on here is pretty much, we're all saying the same thing in different language, different ways, and it's all going to come back to the same thing. It's having conversations, asking people how they feel about doing this. And one thing I do too is if it's a product, if someone comes on for products with me, which is not a lot. I definitely try to recruit more business builders than I do product users. But if I bring on customers, I'm always nudging. I'm never aggressive. I'm never pushing, but I am constantly nudging. So when they message me, I'm going to ask them open-ended questions. Are you loving the flavor of your pink drink? Tell me everything. What are you loving about your products? I want to know what they're loving so that I immediately can respond with, you should totally share that. Have you thought about sharing that? How would it feel to share this and have 3 people join you and make $300? Those are the kinds of conversations I'm having, but I'm having them multiple times with the same person. And I think that that's the thing. It's like that continued longevity of a conversation. Just like Brittany was saying, she's like, we tell them to do a post. And this is the danger of systems that I think we can get into, is that I told them to post, and then I never talked to them again. I want you to take ownership of your business and being like, I want someone to do this with me. Do I want someone who's going to just tell me one time what to do and then leave? No, I want someone who's going to be there being like, girl, you can do this. Like, let's link arms together and do this. That longevity of creating that relationship and building that trust. Amber Miller says to people, she's like, I'm here for life. Like, I'm here for life. So whenever you're ready, like, let's do this. That builds that trust. Like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to sign you up and then ghost you. Like, I'm here for the long haul. That would make me feel like, okay, I feel comfortable here to take brand new steps, right? To put myself out there and try to go for silver or whatever, right? It's the rejection. No one is ever not interested in making $300. I want you to take on that mindset. Nobody is not interested in making $300. Everybody wants to. They're afraid of what happens if they don't get there, and they're afraid of what happens if I can't do it, right? So if we can answer those questions for them in loving on them, in believing in them, in speaking belief to them, and by showing up repeatedly, like, hey, I know you didn't share last week, but what did you think about this week? My first diamond on my team took her 5 months of me messaging her to finally go silver. 5 months. I did not see diamond potential in her. Don't tell Megan. I was not like, okay, I'm digging for talent here. Here comes Megan. She was there she is. She was very quiet. She was like, and she would tell me every month, she's like, yeah, I might do it. I might do it. And I'd get excited. I'm like, okay. And then she wouldn't do it. And then I'd go back the next month. I'm like, hey girl, have you thought about sharing? And every month she would just get a little bit braver, a little bit braver. And can I tell you, it took her 5 months to go silver, but it took her within 11 months, she was emerald. Okay. And so what that taught me is that and this is what, her husband Phil will say to us all the time. He's like, Alita, you stuck with Megan for 5 months. Are there people in your organizations that you're not sticking with? That you're just like, see you later, you don't got what it takes, and really learning to build that relationship. Okay, I went really long, but that's just my point.
No, that's so good. You really could keep going. I feel like there's so much I could unpack right there. So
Yes.
much to work with there, Alita. Thank you. Love the process that you described. Like you literally said multiple times with the same person. I think that is a mistake people make when it comes to creating business builders. Like, you know that when it comes to the products, it's 8 to 12 exposures on average before somebody makes a decision. But the same is also true about the business. And most people might expose somebody to the business 3 or 4 times, but where is the list of people they have talked to about this business 12 times each? If you don't have business builders on your team, that's probably why. Show me your list of people that you have exposed to the business that many times. It is an exposure process. Like, very few people are going to just jump in and run the first time they hear about it, just like very few people are going to jump in and run the first time they hear about the products. It's a process. That is just sales.
And
Whether
can I
you're
say this to
selling,
you? And add, sorry, Brittany, I just wanted to add this to into that too, is that when somebody is like, so if they're not responding to you and you're feeling like, I don't know, people always say, well, how, like, it's the art of the follow-up. That's
yep,
really what we're talking about, right? It's the art of the follow-up. And here's what I like to think of it as. I want to get creative. I get to use my creative side. How can I come back in here and be creative about weaving this back in? So I'm not coming back in with a scripted message that was the exact same as last month, right? I'm coming in with, oh my gosh, I saw you were on vacation. I just got to go to Cancun on this trip. Girl, you would be amazing to travel with. Like, I keep it in our conversation and weave it throughout it. But really, when you're going back, it's being creative of how to bring it up again and to keep nudging them into let's get you taking one business building action. Because for me, I didn't sign up to be a diamond, right? I signed up because I was like, well, I'm curious about the products, but she planted enough seeds about the business that I was like, I think I could do it if I love the products. So as I started loving the products, but had I gone and continued and she never followed up with me, I would have never taken any action. And so there has to be somewhere where you're consistently asking for a business action. Like, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to throw you a chat party? Do you want them to make a post? Do you want them to put something in their stories? But like, I will throw all of those out at people. I'm like, you keep trying. I don't know about anyone else. And if they have a perfect system where it works for every single person, I'm like, we're in the business of people. And that's why AI, chat GBT, they can never take our jobs from us. We are safe over here. Why? Because we're a people industry, right? And so when we're looking for business builders, we have to rely on that we're relational and we're able to talk to people and bring that back into that creative place of how can I help you get started? What feels best to you to get started? They don't know. So I'm going to keep showing up with maybe a different idea. So maybe it's a post or a chat party or an event, whatever. So that's what I do.
yeah, so good. So when we talk about the exposure process, that can sound a little robotic, but Alita's right. It is, you do have to be creative and you have to be relational. One of the things you said over and over, Alita, was like, I'm asking a lot of questions. Like, you are actually connecting with the person. You're trying to figure out like what they like, what they dislike, what their desires are, what their needs are, what their problems are, how you could offer solutions. Like, you're asking a lot of questions and you're listening for problems. Sometimes you're listening for what they didn't say, right? But you're really just connecting with a human being and trying to decipher like what is it that what is it that they would love about Plexus, whether it's the products, whether it's the business, what is it they would love. And then creatively, like the art of the follow-up, it really is an art, because it's not just like, hey, you ready to share this month? Hey, you ready to share this month? Hey, you ready to share this month? It could, I mean, when I'm talking about exposures, like Alita said, hey, I'm in Cancun and I'm just sitting here thinking who I'd want on this beach with me, and you come to mind. And what are your thoughts on this? That's one exposure. The next time you reach out to them, hey, this girl on my team, she's a homeschooling mom just like you, and she just earned $300. She's no different than you are. Have you thought about doing this anymore? Because I'm telling you, you could do that. Boom, exposure number two. We're having an opportunity event this Thursday night. These diamonds are going to be sharing their stories, and I really think you'd leave very inspired and energized by their stories. I think you'd relate a lot. Boom, there's your next exposure. So it's not saying and doing the same thing over and over. It's just coming from different angles, and just showing them what's possible through storytelling, through social proof, through events, through inviting to different things. So, yes, you definitely have to vary the methods by which you are exposing people to the business opportunity. But the most important thing is that you connect with the person, you are relational, and that you are following up. Because if you just do it 3 or 4 times, you're just loosening the jar for somebody else, because somebody is going to talk to them about it at some point. You're just loosening the jar. All right. Anybody else want to add something about the process of creating business builders? Jump in.
Okay, I wanted to add this. Mom's like, go. So okay, I want you guys to think about all this process. So the 5 months that Alita waited for Megan, or the 18 months that Alita's sponsor waited for her to say yes. We're talking about the conversation with the business builder. What are you doing in the in-between? Right? Are you showing online? Are you showing publicly that you are building a business that you are inviting this person into? What I see so often that stops people's results in developing a business builder is they themselves are not consistently active in building a business. It's like a hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold thing, which just makes you lack confidence and belief in yourself, which translates into your conversations, which means you don't have something to be inviting them into, right? If you're only popping in when there's like a sign 6 incentive for an Aura ring, like you're not building a business, right? So that's that like self-reflection in the mirror of how am I showing up in the in-between? Am I waiting on a business builder to validate what I'm creating and to feel motivated? Or am I like, hey, well, when you're ready, I'll be here because I'm on to the next conversation and I'm putting up the next thing because I'm so excited about where I'm going. And your response doesn't hinder me continuing to build this business right now, right? Like, so much is in how you show up, not just because it's what they're seeing online, but it's also you're building you. Bree said it in the chat earlier. The biggest thing of growing your income, starting business builders is your own personal development, right? And raising your own leadership lid. And that only happens with you staying in consistent action, or else it's like 1 step forward, 3 steps back. And I've been there before. I'm sure so many people relate to that. Like, and that's where you just keep pushing, you keep moving forward, regardless of the response you're getting, because you want to be ready. What does someone say? Are you ready when momentum is there? Christina said that. So that's that little look in the mirror. And do I need to sharpen that piece?
I
Yeah.
love that.
Said with a lot of love.
Okay, so I want to add to that. At the beginning of this call, Christina nailed it with what momentum is, and she said it starts with you. Like it's you knowing where you are going. The reason I was able to recruit so many good business builders is because I knew where I was going, and it wasn't dependent on one person. I knew the products we had, I knew the business model, I knew the money behind it, and I knew that I was looking for a person that could see that along with me, and that all of us were going to have to develop along the way.
But you had to see it first.
I
And that's
saw
what a
it,
leader is,
and when
right?
somebody would tell me no and they didn't want to do the business, and this is the same way I feel right now, especially with this momentum that we're in, I'll be like, do they hear me right? Like, why would they choose to continue to do what they're doing when this is there? And then the other thing is I do the same thing Wendy does. I do little asks, like, and phrase it in a way that it's easy for them to say yes to that, because I'm not asking them to do anything. I'm asking them how they feel about doing something. It's that tiny little kick the door a little bit so you can get through the rest of the way. But I love finding out what's on the other side. Like I have such a vision for people. I want to develop their talents. I want to push them out front. Like that is a huge reward to be able to see. And that's what this business does for people.
Agree. So good. Yep. Same.
Okay. I love everything that you two just said. I think two things I'll add. I think that you have to be careful. I think not careful. You have to be intentional to show people, other people. So people, I have a big personality. I'm aware of that. But also, I mean, I think about Bree. Bree has a softer personality. I guarantee you, her friends that have a louder personality, she's showing them people like me. I'm showing my people that are maybe softer. I'm showing them her. I'm showing someone, Brenda Mark, like I'm very careful in my vision casting to not make people think if they're not me, they can't do this. So my follow-up, my exposure is going to be like, look, this is Amber Miller. She's like, this is what she's got going on. And I know you think because we're not the same here, you couldn't do this, but that's actually not true because she's successful and y'all have that thing. The thing that you think is going to hold you back, she has that. So that can't actually be true that it's going to hold you back because Eva has this and she's very successful or whatever. So always casting vision in a way that's going to be relatable to them. It wouldn't do me a whole lot of good to use Emily Roberts as somebody that you should do this because me and Emily Roberts do it. We're very similar. Jordan Roddenberry, like we're very similar. That's probably just going to make them think, see, this is why I can't do it. I'm quiet and you girls are nuts. So I'm going to pull people that would fit that person. Okay. The second thing, I love the question of how would it feel? Here's also a really good question that I have found has gotten me a long way with people. Tell me what you think would hold you back. I'm not asking you to say yes. You don't have to say yes. You don't have to do this with me, but I am curious why? Like what would hold you back? If you were going to do this on a wild, like crazy hair, what would like if you were, you don't have to, but if you were, what do you think would hold you back? What do you think would keep you from being successful? I'm just digging for what their limiting belief is. So asking them how they would feel if they took some action or asking them what they think would prevent them from being able to.
So good.
Also, I want to really quick, just this. What we're all talking about, what Alita, what Christina, what Mom is asking, we're asking these questions because we're trying to inspire them to take action for themselves. We're not like taking it personally. It's not, we're not asking them to say yes because we need them to say yes. And that energy position, like Mom can be so excited for someone. Christina can say that because it's like, girl, I know this is going to be incredible for you and for the goals and dreams you have versus like that position of like, I need to sign one more person. You know, like that, it's a totally different place.
That's exactly what I was going to add, Amber. What I'm recognizing in everyone's answers and what I've seen in almost all diamonds is like they can move on very quickly to the next thing, to the next conversation, to the next objection, to the next chat. Like just they can move on very quickly with it. They don't take things personally. They don't attach strings to this person now has to do this. This person, like they can move on quickly and they don't attach stories to the no's. They don't attach things to why something didn't work out. They're able to move very quickly to the next thing because they're excited. They know what they hold. They know the value. They know they're very confident. And that's like the number one thing I'd want to ask the whole group. Sorry, Brittany, you probably have questions that you want to ask yet. But like, what would your business look like if you talked to like all the diamonds on this Zoom? You talk like that to your team, to your audience, to your current customers, if you talk the same way. Like we didn't just go diamond and then start talking like this with this high belief in the compensation plan, in the products, in how our model works. Like that was there before. Even if we didn't always feel it, we spoke it because we put ourselves in the position to see those things. We showed up in places where we saw the evidence and we didn't stop. So I would be so curious to see how everyone's business would look if they spoke the way they wanted to speak, the way they see diamonds speak.
Yep. Such a good point. I totally agree. Yeah, we didn't just start believing once we became diamond in the value of what we're offering to people. And even if you don't believe in yourself, you can still believe in this opportunity. You can still believe in these products. You can still believe in other people and what this could do for them, what they could accomplish here. I would say when I recruited Christina, I didn't necessarily wholeheartedly believe in myself, But I looked at her and I definitely believed in her. I definitely believed if somebody could be a diamond, she could. And I really meant it. I really meant it. So I think communicating your belief in other people, that's really important too. All right, what mistakes do you guys see people making when it comes to creating business builders?
Believing people's objections. I bet Wendy's going to say the same thing. I probably learned it from her. Believing what they say. If they say no, I couldn't because, or no, I won't because, or I can't because of this, and you believe them, you start your response with, I totally understand. Like, what do you, I'm like, Lori, what do you mean you understand? I don't understand. I think you're nuts for not doing this. But when you believe someone's
But you don't actually say that.
you
Clarify.
don't, it's usually considered rude if you do say that. So have very thick skin if you want to say that. But I just will think to myself, they don't know what I know yet. If they knew what I knew, they'd make the same decision that I made. And so I will just think, people don't need a mentor to see what they already perceive as reality. They already perceive it as reality. They need a mentor and a leader to see what's not yet there and then offer them a counter perspective for what if they're wrong. All you've got to do is plant into somebody, what if I'm wrong? What if I actually am settling? What if I actually am playing too small? Interesting. There's 1% belief that's like, maybe she's right. What if I'm wrong? Now you have an in.
Yep. Or if your life 5 years from now looked exactly the way that it does right now, would you be okay with that? I ask that question a lot. That is a question that gets people thinking that no, in fact, they would not be okay if 5 years from now looked exactly the same as it does now. Most people actually do want to improve their situation. What other mistakes do you guys see people making?
I think I've seen people leave people too soon before they even get any traction. Um, Building leaders takes an intense amount of stick to itiveness, which means you take them on micro successes all throughout their journey. And if you leave them too soon, you risk the fragile belief that they already have. Like, they've borrowed your belief, they've got fragile belief because they're new. And if you don't, I mean, I know people don't like to handhold, but you literally have to handhold them through every step of the process until they get to where they want to go. And oftentimes that means pushing them in front. Like, you're still there, but you push them up ahead. Like when you drop your kid off at kindergarten for the very first time, you know, some kids want to get out and kind of walk out on their own into the classroom, and some of them won't let go of their mom's hands. Well, this is like digging for talent. You want to look for the people that are a little bit okay walking into the classroom on their own, but you're right there still waving at them as they keep going. So don't leave them too soon. I see that way too often. They do not carry out throughout the entire process and keep pushing them to the next level and the next level and the next level and the next level.
Wendy, I had two questions. I love what you said about micro successes. Can you give us some examples of what the micro successes might be? And then the other thing you said is you want to push them out front a little bit. Give us some examples of what that actually means in practical terms.
Okay, so micro successes is basically you're moving, and I think so many of you guys might know this, but I'll just articulate it. You move somebody from getting 3 new VIPs to then maybe 6 VIPs to then casting them vision for senior silver. And then now that you're senior silver, guess what? Now your next goal is going to be gold. Yeah. And then they have to be taught how to give excellent customer care. They have to be taught how to look for subscriptions and making sure that they're on and that they're following up. And then what was the second part of your question? Because what
does it mean to push them out front?
That means helping them be their own problem solver. A lot of people like to be the hero in somebody else's story, but I want to develop somebody that they're the hero of their own story, and that is becoming a problem solver on their own. Mm-hmm. They don't always depend on you to answer everything or solve every problem for them. They figure out how to do it.
Yep. That was what Lori was talking about earlier, is just helping them develop their own talent and their own skills.
They
Love that.
become more confident too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. They do develop confidence as they are leading and they
Mhm.
are creating evidence behind them of their micro successes, like what you just said. All right, any other mistakes you guys want to call out that people make when trying to create business builders?
I have a few little, two completely different ones. One, if we're talking about from the very beginning, is people tend to look for those who need the income versus those who would be good at the income model. Someone that can be developed into it. But if you're looking for a strong business builder, if you're looking for a Wendy or a Christina or Eva or Mom, Brittany, you're looking for people that have that natural piece, that natural thing. And it doesn't have to be a large network. It's influence. We talked about it on our last call, what that piece is. Not just for people who really need the income, like two completely different things there. And then the second piece goes with Wendy said, leaving people too soon. And this is something that I still am constantly working at, is that can also look like shying away from the problem because you think that you have to be the one to fix it for them. So I want to give you an example. And this usually is around that gold level where people like start, it gets a little tougher because you got to learn duplication, right? So it's a new skill. And so I used to tend to shy away at this point where they started like stalling out because I'm like, I don't know what to tell them. Like, keep talking to people, right? I felt like I had to solve the problem and create some instant success for them. So I do two things. I now clearly say, like, okay, we're learning a new skill. This is a whole new, you have gotten great at sending carts and conversations. You've gotten great at posting. Like I highlight all those things that used to be so nerve-wracking before, you are an expert at. So now we're learning a new piece, just like if you're in a college course. And our new skill is duplication and silver creation. And we're going to have fun with it. We're going to try new things. And so I verbalize this next step of the process. And the other thing is this question I love is when they're coming at me with, well, no one's saying yes, no one's saying this. I will tell them, well, it sounds like you have some decisions to make. Sounds like you have some choices to make. And I put it back on them because nothing I can say at this point is going to cause some big break. They have to decide to keep growing through this. And that's like the most loving thing you can do because at their core, if you have built belief, and that's this big thing, you're always building belief by plugging them in, keeping them close to the fire, telling them what they can. At their core, they so badly do want to push through. But they need to stop looking at you as the solution creator and be like, okay, I have a decision to make. Am I going to keep learning and going through? And that's a power, and just sit in that pause. And this is on the conversation, right? And they'll often start coming up with their own solutions or creative ideas then because we're not hiding. I have it written right here. Don't talk about everything but what's really going on. That's what a leader does, right? So being willing to have those conversations.
So good. So helpful. All right, I have a question for the audience. I want you guys to type in the chat when it comes to the business opportunity, what are the most frequent objections that you hear? Because I would like for these diamonds to explain how they overcome these common objections. Okay, somebody's saying, not enough time. I don't have enough time to build this business. Diamonds, what would you say to that objection?
I would say I did not have enough time. I wouldn't say this to the person, but just to put this in your own mind, when Amber was trying to talk to me about the business, my first thought was, I'm busy. I don't have time for this. I needed to see the money. I did not need anybody to talk to me about $300, like, or $100. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to see the big income build out because when I saw the big numbers, I was suddenly not so busy. And so I think that asking those hard questions, like I'm talking to somebody right now, she would be amazing. And she's saying she's too busy. So I keep dropping income graphics and inviting her to like the Thursday calls. And I tell her, I know how much money you're making. You're already doing a lot of work. This you would find a lot easier. and it's a lot higher of an income potential. Are you sure you do not want to look at this? And she's gradually becoming more and more interested. So, I don't have the time. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people have problems. I listened to a podcast and they were saying if you're 50 and you want to change careers, you're going to have to work at night. Like you're going to have to um, spend the hours and the time to have the outcome that you want. That is the truth. Like, so a conversation could be, if I broke it down for you in this amount of hours per week, do you think you could handle that for this type of income potential?
Yeah, I would just say at the core of that question is they don't think it's worth it for them
Yeah.
to put in the time. So yeah. So you just got to make it more worth it, make it worth it for them to pay
Show them the
attention.
value.
Yeah, and you could say, and this is where like we're just having honest conversations. So you could say, you know what, that's what I thought at first too. And what was really under the core is I just didn't think it was worth it. Because I didn't really see it as a legitimate income creation tool. Is that kind of maybe where you're at, right? Like these are just open conversations. You're asking for what's underneath. It's like when someone says they can't afford it, most of the time, they just don't think it has the value for them to put the money on it. Because we have had diamonds that have borrowed money from their kids, that have sold things on Facebook Marketplace, that have saved money for 3 months that actually needed to, that have then gone on to become diamonds because the value was there. And we've had people with no time, the value was there to make it. So different things like that, a few phrases, if I, would you. So if I could show you how to do this in just a short amount of time, would you be willing to act on it? Or, like if I, would you is a phrase. There's a book called Exactly What to Say. Is that what it's called? It's a short time by Phil Jones that has like 14 different really good phrases to help get to the next, what they actually mean by that phrase. So all those objections everyone just listed, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to be that person, even that I don't want to do MLMs, it just means the desire isn't strong enough yet.
Or their fear is stronger than their desire,
Yeah.
and you can help them overcome that. I love all of that. And another thing that I will say is I love when somebody gives me the I don't have time objection, because I feel like that's a productive person. Like and I will flat out tell them, like the busiest people are the ones who are most successful here, because we're the ones who know how to get stuff done. And I will literally list out all the things I have going on too, so that by the time they get done listening, they're out of breath, because I want them to know that it's the productive people who are also productive here. And then I will also tell them the good thing about this business is that you don't get paid based off the time you put in. This is not trading hours for dollars. You get paid off the results you produce. And if you can just show up with some enthusiasm and follow instructions, I can help you produce some results. So, love that one. All right, one last objection, because I feel like this one's pretty common. When somebody says, "I'm not a salesperson," or "I've tried that before and it didn't work. I've done sales before, not good at it. I could not be that person. I don't want to be pushy, blah, blah, blah." How do you handle that type of objection? Not a salesperson.
I really don't want to talk the whole time, but I say, because I get this a lot, great, because I don't want salespeople. We are in a service-based industry. And if I could show you, this is the if I, would you, if I could show you our tools and our trainings that are just very service-based and connecting people to solutions that they're looking for, would that be in your comfort zone? Or would that be something that you could see yourself doing? So I'm just always say, awesome. Because what they mean is I don't want to be salesy. I don't want them to be salesy either. And that's literally how I respond. And then we're on to the next thing. Like I'm not going to pause there and do some big giant speech on it. We're just on to the next piece of the
I agree
conversation.
with that. I agree. Amber, I think a lot of the times what's important for you guys to know is whatever they spit out as their first objection, it's not their real objection. So they'll start with the I don't have time. You'll handle that by saying, well, that's interesting. My response to I don't have time is usually, well, that's interesting. Curious how much time you think you'd have to put in. And I'll just shut up. And then they'll say, well, I just have this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Me too. when I started this, I was teaching full time and I just found 30 minutes a day. Sometimes that looked like 3 10-minute blocks. If I could, would you, whatever. So then I go into what Amber says. Then they'll come back and say, well, I just don't know if I really want to like push things on my friends. So every objection is basically a layer a little closer to their heart. They'll start with the most basic layer, the one that they think will be the most acceptable, that will kind of get you off their back. Like, let me just shut up. I don't have, same with the products, same with the products. They'll start with the I can't afford it. Then we'll get to the objection of, well, I actually try a lot of things and I never see anything through. So now it's the belief of I can't be consistent. We're getting a little closer to their heart. Every objection is a little closer to the heart. So a lot of the time, Sonia Dudley taught me this, when they have an objection, I'll just say, well, that's interesting. Tell me more. Even to the, I'm not a salesperson. I'll say, interesting. Tell me more. And then they'll say, well, I just really don't want my friends to think this about me. Well, now I know that what people think matters a lot to them. And so a lot of the times it's just tell me more. Tell me more about that. So
And you
So
can
good.
flip that right on there. Like that is so good because you can say like, well, that means you're a person of integrity. And that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
You know, like you could, or the time. Well, that to me, that means you're someone who really wants to make wise decisions with your choices. And same, you know, and so it's not being, we see opportunities. What did Eva said? Like we see opportunities in all these responses, not, oh, well, see, I tried and they said that. Get curious and get excited to keep digging in. I love what you said, Christina. Get closer to their heart. Like that's so good.
So good.
I'm such a
And
feeler.
I do,
I want to just
think
add
that,
like in
go ahead,
general,
Eva.
I just want to add like in general, objections, uh over time when you're doing this business, you'll get more excited about objections. Like at first, you're like, I hardly want to follow up because I'm scared they're gonna say some, I won't know what to say. I don't know the perfect words. All the diamonds know the perfect words. I don't know the perfect words. Like that's literally putting it all on you. Like Amber said, this is not all on you. You're putting it all on yourself and expecting yourself to have all the answers to every single thing that they bring up. Versus instead of seeing the objections as opportunities and just like Christina said, getting closer to their heart, getting closer, being curious about what it is. So the longer you do this, the more actually excited you get to hearing objections because you're actually going to get somewhere when they're actually telling you and you can hear more, hear deeper what it actually is. So get excited about hearing objections versus like, I'm not even going to follow up because what if they say something I don't know what to say?
I totally agree with that, Eva, because I think I've always thought that from the beginning. Like, as long as somebody's engaging with me, I believe they're interested. And I think the reason I've always believed that and I've never been afraid of people's objections is because I had every objection and I just wanted somebody to care enough to help me overcome my own objections in my head. Like, in my mind, I thought, well, if I have these objections, then other people are going to too, and I need to know how to answer them. And so I would raise the objection, and if Lori or Fallon was able to help me overcome my objection and just help me see a different way, I would move forward. And so I believe the same about others. As long as somebody is actually communicating their objection, I think they're secretly interested and they want me to offer them a different perspective. I truly do believe that. All right, y'all, we got to close this down, but I do want to say this last thing. I learned a new word today. It's now my favorite word. I had never heard it before, but it's anti-fragile. And I basically, fragile just means you're easily broken, right? Stress, tension, pressure, adversity, a setback, you're going to break, okay? Anti-fragile is when not only does the stress and the pressure and the tension not break you, but it makes you stronger. It's like exercise. Exercise is a perfect example of this because like if you go for a run, you're really putting some stress on your cardiovascular system, but it doesn't like kill it. It actually makes it stronger. Or like you're lifting weights, you're tearing down those muscle fibers. Why? So they can build back stronger. Okay, so that's anti-fragile. And I think that is a requirement to be a diamond in this business. And I'm very curious to hear from you, diamonds. Would you say that you are anti-fragile? that every objection you have faced in this business, or every business builder who's quit on you, or every customer who's turned their subscription off, or every hurdle that you've jumped over in order to achieve what you have achieved, would you say that you have been or become an anti-fragile person? Really want to hear from y'all on this.
I would say I've definitely massively increased my capacity. Don't laugh at me. She knows. I remember Helen and Sonia saying you got 5 minutes. Like when you have that letdown, you allow yourself 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes, and you don't go to sideline, you don't go complaining about it. I really believe there's so much power in our words. Eva was talking about that, I think, and it's true. And so scarcity does not attract. And even what you say in private and the thoughts that you hold in private, they're going to set the course for where you're going. Every person I talk to that is struggling in their business, I hear scarcity like over and over again. That's a decision. It's so funny because in the beginning, Amber's story is she didn't know if she could do this, and I had to be an encouragement to her. And when I come to her with stuff, she flips that script, man. She's like, is that the story that you want to be true, Mom?
Oh my
Is that
gosh. And it's so annoying. I'm like, oh, yes, 100% anti-fragile. Like, and I say that with a great amount of respect for the future too. But this business creates that, right? Like it shapes you and you have a choice. That whole thing. I have a choice to make. Do I grow and move forward, or is this where I die? Like that's that kind of thing. And this is where it stops. Someone asked me, why do you keep going the other day? And I was like, I love the process of this. Like, I love the growth of this. I love that I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know what they're going to say. I don't know if 3 months from now they're going to pop back up. I don't know if, like, just a couple weeks ago, a big fish for me finally said yes. And I was like, oh, I sent her GIFs. I was over here happy dancing. Like, I would never have gotten that moment if I didn't push through the last 2 years of her saying no, right? Like, and that's thrilling. It's like a game. It's a fun game of you never know what's going to happen. So loving the process is the opposite of scarcity.
And I think it makes you a better person
It
overall.
totally
That's
does.
one thing this industry does. Better mom, a better spouse, everything.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, but I would say I was not anti-fragile when I started this, but I've become anti-fragile in the process of this. So it's okay if you're not feeling anti-fragile. If you're feeling a little fragile, just know it's a choice and you can
I'll
become anti-fragile.
Yes, let me include that too for anyone that doesn't know. I almost quit at Gold. So, like Brittany said, because I don't want to sound just like I was always anti-fragile. I almost quit. I told my mom, I am going to quit because nobody says yes to me. Nobody's interested in the business, and all my customers stop using the products. And so I was like, so obviously I am not made for this. And she said, I will wash your mouth out with soap. If you like, literally, that's what she said. And you have to fail forward. And so it was pushing through that. So if you're in that same place right now, a lot of us can say same, and there's a lot of good on the other side.
And I know she's my daughter, but you are on the other end of that for other people. Like that's the reward that you get.
Yep.
I think if we can end with this too, y'all, like this is not going along with what Lori just said. You're here for a reason, right? If you're on the East Coast with us, it's 10:15. You would not be here if you didn't want something more out of this. And this is not your story to block. You're here for a purpose, you're here for a passion, you're here for a reason, and you're going to have those moments where you're like, man, is this for me? And is this what I should be doing? And I put this in the chat. I almost quit at Gold. I can remember where I was crying up in my room because somebody said something, and I was going to walk away. And I think now it was never my story to walk away from. Like every single thing that I'm here for, that you're here for, is because you are meant to make an impact on other people. And my kids have their parents fully present because of this. How many other people would have missed out on that too? And that's generational. That's so much bigger than products. That's so much bigger than a Zoom. That's so much bigger than one person ignoring our messages or not answering us back. It's thousands of lives that might not even ever know what Plexus is, but they're going to be better people because we get to show up in moments as better people. And that's something that's so far beyond any training, any skill, like anything that we know that we're here for. So when you have those moments, when you have those ebbs and flows, know that we're not here never having gone through that, right? We're here because we want you to keep going through that because Plexus is different. And when one person rises, we all rise together. That's why we keep doing these calls because we know the impact at the end of them.
Yes, so good. All right, well, we are way over time. I don't think anybody's mad about it though. Such a rich call, so much value here. We'll get this replay up for you guys soon. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Diamonds, thank you for sharing your knowledge, wisdom, expertise, and experience. Appreciate y'all so much, and we'll see y'all next week. All right, bye.